Hi, second grade. It's so good to see you again. We have spent some time away from this topic, and I am so excited to jump back into it. Let's get our targets ready and then see what we're going to learn today. I can tell and write time to the quarter hour and the 5-minute intervals. What does that mean? Well, we've already done some of this before. We've told and wrote time before. I've showed you a clock that might look like this, and you've written the time for it. I've actually shown you this time, and you've put it on your clock before. When it says I can tell and write time, that's what we're going to be doing. You're going to write the digital time, or you're going to show me your analog time on your clock that matches the time that I show you. We got this, don't we? Now, the tricky part is we've already learned about our quarter hour, our 15, our 30, and our 45 minutes. But what we haven't dove into yet in second grade is this idea of this 5-minute interval. Now, we know how to count by fives, and we've even put to use counting by fives to help us figure out this 15, 30, and 45 minutes on our clock, right? Old stuff. But what we haven't really dove into is when we look at a clock and we tell that time when that minute hand is not on that 3, on that 6, or on that 9, or even on that 12, okay? So that is the new learning that we're going to be seeing this week. So on our vocabulary chart, you're going to see this actually grow throughout the week and today. I have my clock, and I've drawn that clock, and I've divided it into 4 equal parts. That's what we know from before, right? We know that when we divide our clock into 4 equal parts, that we have quarters, right? And when we see those quarters, we see it on the 60 on the O clock. We see it on the 3 or the 15. We see it on the 6 or the 30 minutes. Or we see it on the 9, which is our 45-minute spot. But when we count it by fives, there's also a number by the 1 and the 2 and the 4 and the 5. When we're counting, there are minute hands that point to that too. We have our 5, 10, our 20, our 25, our 35, and our 40, and our 50 and our 55 that we haven't spent much time talking about, that we're actually going to be experiencing today and the rest of this week. Before we get started with that, though, let's do a little warm-up. You ready? Got to do a little warm-up before we work out. Show me 7 o'clock on your analog clocks. Easy peasy campin' easy. 7 o'clock. Does your clock look like mine? The hour hand's on the 7, and the minute hand is on the 12, right? Now, I want you to look at my clock very carefully. Now what time does my clock say? How do you know it says 7:15? Because our minute hand is still on that 7, or close to it. And now we've gone from our 12 to our 5, 10, 15. Now, 15 minutes is a lot of time. What can we do in 15 minutes? Eat breakfast. We could read a book. We could do our homework. We have to eat lunch 15 minutes sometimes. Lots of stuff we can do in 15 minutes. From 7 o'clock to 7:15, we can do lots of stuff. Now, as we think about that 15 minutes, I want you to show me, if we know 7:15 looks like this, what would 3:15 look like? Take a minute on your clocks, on your analog clocks. That means this clock that has those 2 hands that go around on this awesome little circle that has all these numbers on there. That's your analog clock. Show me on your analog clocks what 3:15 looks like. Where is your hour hand? Where is your minute hand? How do you know it's going to be on the 3? 5, 10, 15. Let's take a peek. Does this look like yours? How does this show 3:15? Those tiny hands are pretty close to each other, aren't they? Our minute hand is on the 5, on the 3. And why did you put on the 3? 5, 10, 15. Where's the hour hand on this 3:15? Why is it just a hair after our 3? Because it is not right. It's not 3 o'clock anymore, is it? As my hour, or as my minute hand moved from my 12 to my 3, my hour hand did a little moving too, didn't it? Absolutely. So when I show 3:15, I want my hour hand to move a little bit there too. Now, have you ever heard of 3:15 being called something else? Yes. It can also be called a quarter past 3. That means that it's gone a quarter of the way, there's our quarter right here, past 3 o'clock. That's right, quarter past 3. Now, we've talked a little bit about this, but this is something that I really want to make sure we talk about today and the rest of this week. This whole idea about AM and PM. Have you ever seen AM and PM before? That's right. AM, and we're going to keep this over here so we can see it every day. AM means the time between, that's right, midnight, middle of the night, and noon. It also means the morning, right? Anytime before noon is going to fall into our AM. Our PM is, what do you think? That's right. That's going to be our afternoon. And that's also going to be our evening time, our nighttime. Our time between noon and midnight. Now, let's think about this idea of 3:15. Oh my goodness. If I am at 3:15 a.m., I don't think I've ever seen 3:15 a.m. What do you think we're going to do at 3:15 a.m.? That's right. We are sleeping at 3:15 a.m. or hopefully you're sleeping. What about if we were thinking about 3:15 p.m.? What happens at 3:15 p.m.? Maybe you're waiting on your school bus. Maybe you're waiting on your school bus. What else could you be doing at 3:15 p.m.? Maybe you're having an after-school snack. Yes, absolutely. Maybe after-school snack. Maybe waiting for your school bus. Maybe you're waiting for your car rider, your parents to pick you up in the car rider line. That's that after school or that afternoon time, isn't it? As every time we look at, we are going to be thinking about what that time would look like if it's in the AM or if it's in the PM. And I want to challenge you at home and at school that you spend lots of time thinking about this idea of AM and PM, because I will tell you, you're going to use it a lot as an adult. Yes. Now, you guys are so smart. What a great job you did showing me 3:15. Now, my next one for you is 4:45. Say that time with me. 4:45. Show me that time on your analog clock. Where would your hour hand be? Is it going to be closer to the 4 or closer to the 5? Where would your minute hand be? How do you know it's going to be on the 9? All right, friends, are you ready? 4:45. What will that time look like? Where will my hour hand go? Why will it be closer to my 5 than my 4? Because if my minute hand has gone all the way around to my 45, it's closer to my next hour. So my minute hand's going to be stretching all the way to my 9. And then my hour hand is going to be closer to my 5 than it is to my 4. A little different than when I was showing my 3:15. In that case, my hour hand was closer to my 3 than closer to my 4. Because it was closer to 3 o'clock than it was to 4 o'clock. How else have you heard that time be called? What else have you heard about that time? 3:15 was 3:15. There's that quarter again, because it is on the quarter hour. Is it 4:15? Or is it 1/4 till? What is it 1/4 till? It's almost 5 o'clock. You see that right here? You can see that right here. It's 1/4 till 5. That means it's closer to 5 o'clock than it is to 4 o'clock. What am I going to ask you next? What does 4:45 look like if it's 4:45 a.m.? I sure hope so. I hope that you're doing the same thing you were doing at 3:15 a.m. I hope you are sleeping at 4:45 a.m. What about 4:45 p.m. or in the afternoon? Some of you are playing outside after school. Some of your parents are picking you up from maybe after school care. Oh, some of you are working on your homework. You know what I'm doing at 4:45? Getting ready for dinner. Yeah. It's getting into that evening time. But many of you are wrapping up your day, doing your homework, playing outside, enjoying your afternoon before you start getting ready to have dinner and start settling in for the night. So at 4:45, you're probably at home. How many of you are at home at 4:45? How many of you are wrapping up your schoolwork at 4:45? Very nice. This 4:45 time in the afternoon is when we'll be doing some of those things. We're probably home from school. At least the bus has picked everybody up by then. All right, are you ready to look at our next time? Ooh, you're going to show me 5:20 on your analog clock. Where is 5:20 going to go? Where is your hour hand going to be? Where's your minute hand going to be? Where'd you put your minute hand? Why is your minute hand on the 4? 5, 10, 15, Now, if it's 5:20, where is your hour hand going to go? Is it closer to the 5 or is it closer to the 6? All right, friends, let's come together. Show me your 5:20s. Hold your clocks in front of your chest for me. Many of your clocks look a lot like this. Give me a little wiggle waggle at home if your clock looks like this. All right, let's take a peek at this clock. Where's my hour hand on this clock? It's pretty close to that 5. It's past the 5, isn't it? But it is past the 5. Where is your minute hand? 5, 10, 15, 20. It's on the 4, which represents that 20 when we're counting by 5s, right? Is our hour hand closer to our 5 or closer to our 6? It's closer to our 5. It hasn't even gotten to that halfway point yet, has it? So we're going to pop this 5:20 right there on our chart. Now, it's not on the quarter hour, so we might not have a different time for it, right? But let's think about this. What are you doing at 5:20 a.m.? Oh my goodness, I think there's a little trend. Oh yes, in that a.m., you are still sleeping soundly, hopefully. What are you doing at 5:20 p.m. in the evening? Eating dinner, getting your lunch ready for tomorrow, having some family time. A lot of you are having dinner. 5:20 is that evening time. We've moved from afternoon to evening. We're getting ready to get into the dinner time and also maybe into getting ready for the next day. That's right. Very different than 5:20 a.m. before noon. Oof. I like to be sleeping at that time too. All right. Now, on your own, your exit ticket for today. I have it as launch number 4, but I want you to do it on your own and show me what you know. How can you draw this time on your analog clock? I want you to show me 9:15. And then on the back, what are you doing at 9:15 a.m.? What are you doing at 9:15 a.m.? Take a minute, show me that time on your clocks, and then remember on the back, you're going to tell me what are you doing at that time in the morning. 2nd grade, you have lots of practice with these clocks to do today and the rest of this week. I am so excited how our brains will grow and we will learn more about telling time to not just the quarter hour, but this idea of 5-minute intervals.